Back in 2020, I took a job as an artist for a webcomic, Fire of the Fifth Sun. Yeah, I know, I used to draw like that. This was my first serious project, and my task was to convert the novel that my client wrote into a webcomic. Easy, right? Famous last words. I wasn't even the first choice. His artist just ghosted him for some reason. Before that, I've been trying to get into the art industry since 2016. About 4 years worth of trying and failing. But I never gave up. I knew I would strike gold one day. That project lasted for about a year and a half. With 16 chapters in my belt, I was really proud of it. It's funny how things just seems to work out. I have an old saying, wherever focus goes, success follows. And what I mean by that is that if you work hard enough, work past all the failures, all the pain and suffering, pick yourself back up, eventually you'll hit your mark. This project gave me a sizable portfolio that it allowed me to win more clients like this. And I've been working as a mangaka for other authors who wants to turn their novels into a manga. And every year, I would always get the occasional, you should start your own manga, write your own story, and start your own project. But I never did. And I never really saw myself as a writer back in the day. And honestly, there's a level of fear that comes with that. I was so afraid to write something mediocre that nobody would read it. You see, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to do things that I'm not good at. I don't like to take in clients or projects that I know I can't do 100%. Predictably, that was massively holding me back from learning something new. But then one day, finally, I finished watching this little known anime called Attack on Titan. That show motivated me so much that I actually started writing. But you know what? Then I quickly realized that I had no idea what I was doing, that I had no writing chops whatsoever. Seriously, trying to write a story for the first time, I felt like my hair was about to fall off. It was incredibly stressful. But just like a humble monkey, I sort of just humbled myself and started to learn things little by little. I thought that I learned art this way by learning one thing at a time, and I thought I could apply the same principle with writing. So, okay, I thought I would just start small. A small one shot with 10 to 15 pages, and it's gonna have a very simple story with very few characters involved. The story was just about a boy trying to return a baby to her parents. But I have a few cool ideas, like an entity that follows him around that tries to tempt him to abandon his quest, and an old warrior trying to save them at the very end of the story. It was a very small story with barely anything fleshed out. And then life just kind of hits sometimes, you know? In 2021, I had my baby. Well, my wife did, not me. But it kind of made me prioritize my finances over my wants. So I had to drop the project in favor of taking in a new client so that I can support my family. And I just sort of drifted away from writing and really finished that story. Looking back at it now, I think it was also the art style. It took a lot from me just to finish the single page. I wasn't as efficient at drawing as I am now. It took everything I had just to finish 5 pages with barely any time for myself at the end of the week. I needed to reinvent myself, and that's when I came up with my work pipeline, a proper process on how to make multiple manga pages in a single week. It did make me draw faster, but having a pipeline made me more efficient. I was able to finish my work with a lot more time to do other things like spend more time with my family. It was a incredibly stressful time for me. Try raising a kid and also be a mangaka at the same time. Needless to say, it took me a while to get to my rhythm, to get to my stride. But you know what? I am not complaining. It is an absolute privilege and an honor to be working in the art industry. And looking back at where I came from now, it's I don't take it for granted. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Now that I think about it, that's exactly like raising a kid. Stressful and rewarding. Cue the sad guitar music. Let's just fast forward a few years later. My son just turned 4. I was in a bookstore, and in the corner of my eyes, I found this book, Manga in Theory and Practice, by JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Hirohiko Araki. It talked about the golden road to making manga, reading this book was another turning point for me. It really motivated me to start writing again, but this time I had a proper guide. I'll talk more about this book in detail in another video, but it basically gave me a blueprint into how to write a manga. I didn't know it at the time, but when I first started writing my story, all those years ago, I just didn't have anybody to guide me through it. But this book gave me that solution. And I read this thing over and over again, like a Bible. I knew my writing had to be clear, so I took an entire week to flesh out a story, which is actually an offshoot, a modified version of the original story I built all those years ago. And I immediately started drawing. It took me about 10 weeks to finish 12 pages worth of work, and I could only finish around one page per week at a time due to the amount of work that I had. If you watched my I Survive a Manga competition video, link on the title up here, you'll know that my brain acts like a perfectionist. Once I finished the one shot, I immediately started hating it. I thought the story was rushed and my characters were too generic. And I learned that a week's worth of writing is not enough. I knew I had to start over again. I had to take a deep breath, and I painfully had to abandon my original pages. 11 weeks worth of work down the drain. Long story short, I wasted close to 8 months trapped in this cycle. I knew this was going to happen. I'm the type of person who learns by failing. I knew I would have to go through this pain of starting over and over again to get better. All my work didn't go in vain though, since I didn't really start over. Instead, what actually happened is I accumulated all those story beats for world building ideas. Even my abandoned pages, the drawings were recycled into newer pages, characters rewritten and redesigned. Those failures actually gave me foresight as to where my story would be going. And I suppose that's what success means to me, the accumulation of all the things you've learned from failures. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but you only really lose once you stop learning and failing. Slowly but surely, my world is now starting to take shape, and I finally got a story to tell. Writing has taught me that I could be so much more than what I am now. I think it is a natural progression for artists to explore something else, may that be animation or writing, for this matter. It also reminded me as to where I come from and how I got here in the first place, through perseverance and endurance and sacrificing through a lot of pain and suffering, it's a really brutal process, but I enjoy every moment of it. Does that make me a sadist? Masochist? Anyways, guys, just to finish this video off, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and find this story interesting at least. And as always, like and subscribe. You guys have a nice day. Bye bye.